Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to get into a bunch of these Super Bowl ads, these Super Bowl commercials. But before we do that, I wanted to button up a couple of things about this halftime show, Super Bowl halftime show. Just a few final thoughts. Now, there was this opening scene of the show by The Weeknd, of course. That's him sitting in that car. I looked into the car. There really wasn't much to say about the car. I think it was a Mercedes. But we had compared the images in the scene to Flushing Meadows in Queens. These flying saucer towers, which is the New York Pavilion, as well as the globe, the Unisphere globe in the foreground. This is definitely scenes from Flushing Meadows. But what I forgot to go into more detail for those that don't follow the channel is this also, of course, is Las Vegas. Got to be very thorough with these decodes because you miss one show and you could be lost. So I was looking into this, and of course this is Las Vegas, and this, of course, though, is Flushing Meadows, Queens, Corona Park from Men in Black, the site of one of the very first secret UFO landings that happened in real life. They allude to it many times throughout film history, and there have, of course, been mutilations, animal mutilations in that area from a zoo, and this happened year after year after year in that area. But here's the thing, here's the clincher, and this confirms the connection between Las Vegas and Flushing Meadows, because Flushing Meadows and the word Las Vegas mean the same thing. Las Vegas in Spanish means the meadows. So there's your confirmation there that, in fact, we did foreshadow this halftime show set. So let's get into some of these Super Bowl ads and break some of this down. I found a complete compilation of what appears to be almost all of the Super Bowl ads. We'll be going through those. We may play a few short clips, but nothing more than 3 or 5 seconds. So just be prepared for that. We're going to be skipping through some of them as well. And we have to do that because of copyright. Video will get taken down if we do not. And the first one I wanted to start out with was this Alexa ad. Now let's pull this up here. This is crazy. So here it is here. And really, why are we looking at these ads? Okay, because people that are new to the channel are going, why are you doing this? Why do you decode all this stuff? I want to briefly go into why we have to do that. We have to do this because this is the reality for 99% of humanity. Entertainment, advertising. This is the programming that programs people, programs their behaviors, and steers the agenda of the elite. And so if you don't understand what you're looking at, you're being deceived. And you might get it. You might understand what the underlying themes are. But 99% of people do not. They are the ones that we're trying to reach by decoding all of this stuff that we do on this channel. Because really what this is, this kind of programming, is the shape of things to come in our reality. Now, this first ad by Alexa is all about the changing of the shape of the Alexa device. I think they came first in like a circle, like a donut shape. I think that's what Alexa looks like. Well, now it's changed into a sphere. Now I'm going to back this up so you can see this sphere.
Hey.
Let's go back here. And let's go back here. See if they have the image of it at the beginning of this ad. There it is. So here's the new shape of Alexa. Now this is interesting because this dovetails in with the globe seen here, which is also the Unisphere in Flushing Meadows. Now, just to tie this all together, Mr. T, the Don himself, had one of these built as a replica in front of one of his buildings right next to Central Park. The replica was built, and there's a lot more metaphors and similarities and things linked into that. We won't go into that, but if you're interested in that, I'll put a link to that video exposing what is behind this globe in the pinned comment. That's where I'll put it. So this is the new shape, and this is intentional. It's this sphere shape. Make sure we're connected. We'll keep going with this. All right. Appears as though we are. Sound is good. All right. Whoa, what's that? Oh, that's just his key card. Okay, so let's keep getting into this because this is crazy. Now, what is the purpose of this? Well, they're really trying hard to blur the lines between artificial intelligence and reality. Now, this has been going on for a long time. And the whole purpose of, what's that? Is that the Space Needle? Whoa, look at that. A lot of hidden imagery in here. And so what they're trying to do is to get you to accept and be comfortable with this whole integration, I guess we can call it, between our consciousness and our human interaction with the artificial intelligence to make it seamless so that we feel as though it is one and the same. Now, it's interesting because look at this. This is the Flushing Meadows, New York Pavilion imagery going on here. It's repeating, and look, it's also repeating down here in these stools and the table. Do you see this? So you're getting a visual subliminal reminder of these towers and the globe juxtaposed to one another. So this is all about UFO disclosure. Now let's keep going with this because there's more to this. Now, this is about the AI appearing human. Now in this case, this woman here starts fantasizing about this black male sex symbol, Michael Jordan. And he is basically the new sex symbol, I guess you could call him, for black women, okay? And some white women, I would imagine. But let's get into this because she starts looking at this and going, wow, it's a new shape. It can do anything. And the voices coming through are now advanced, and they probably have certain AI technology that can go through and match your preferences up with the voice that comes through Alexa. Now, of course, Michael Jordan being, here he is here, and his eyes turn blue as he materializes in front of her. Him being this symbol represents AI and her falling in love with the AI. And while her husband is on the sidelines, he's just a normal guy, normal weight, of normal normal looks, and he cannot compete with Michael Jordan here, right? Let's see if they can show his name here so you guys can see this.
Alexa, how many tables?
Whoops. Okay, there he is. There's Michael Jordan. And so she gets this image of him on the bus, and this becomes her fantasy. So this is very disturbing because for a person to start feeling emotions toward an artificial intelligence and the idea of it being portrayed through the artificial intelligence is just very disturbing. Okay? And of course, look at this guy, this poor guy. This is her husband, and he cannot compete with this. Now, it's interesting because Alexa is a woman's name, and of course, Michael B. Jordan materializes as a man. So there's a slight trans agenda going on here, you could say, I suppose, from Alexa to Alex, I guess. But more importantly, I wanted to show you the Amazon logo. Now, we had discovered this years ago when Amazon really took off running, and I told you guys what the Amazon logo was.
I was in his hands.
Hey.
I was also kissing him.
The Amazon logo is a phallus. It just is. Now, people laughed at that and they're like, dude, your mind's in the gutter. No, it's not. This is what it is. And here you're going to see it in its full glory and display, emerging from him going into her.
Other people have to use the bathroom around here too.
Okay, so that is you know what that is, becoming aroused. Okay, I'm trying to put this in basic terms here, but so this is brazen. This is what it's always been. It's just that people, they don't want to think that they could be so open with this and put this out there like that. But that's what it was all along. And people are, oh, it's a smiley face. Well, it could be someone smiling, but this is really what it was all about. All of your desires, anything you want, you can basically order on Amazon. It's like, I think they even called it the beast or the animal, your animal instincts. So here it's captured in this intimate moment in the bathtub, and it fully exposes what they're up to. Now, let's get into some of these other advertisements here, because this is crazy. Check one more time, make sure we're connected. Okay. I always worry because what can happen is, as we're playing even a few seconds of this ads, if the algos pick it up, they can actually pull down the stream, midstream. So that's what I was trying. That's why I'm checking back in with you guys frequently to make sure that we're still connected. Okay. And it looks like we are. Okay. Let's keep going with this. Now, this next ad, let's cue it up here. Where'd it go? Is all about body doubles, stunt doubles, and this is Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. And what they do here in this ad is they compare the competition, those other brands out there that are, trying to come up with these seltzers and organic seltzers. They compare them to copycats. So let's see if we could play a few seconds of this and just get the gist of what they're talking about.
You almost fooled me. Lookalikes. Phony.
Lookalikes. Okay, so this whole ad is about lookalikes. And this falls right in line with what we've been talking about for the past year. The cloning aspect. The Janus. Two faces. Janus was the ancient god of two faces. And we've been talking all about this. So this is the two-face matrix. And we did this interesting video on this, and I'll pin that in the comments. The video is about biblical doppelgangers. Here it is right here. And it's called Us. Mankind's first 7 twin generations were Gemini doppelgangers. And again, I'll pin that. But the gist of this is this. These were the first 7 generations of the Bible. And if you look through Cain's line and compare that to Seth, remember Abel got killed, he's in the middle. If you compare that to Seth's line, there are 2 separate lines mentioned in the Bible. There are crossover people in the bloodline with almost the exact same names. Now, how can that be? How can Cain's bloodline mirror Seth's bloodline, son of Adam? Well, we're going to get into why that is. But in this decode, we also talk about and decode the film Us, which is all about doppelgangers as well. An entire reality of underground clones that mirrored our own. And they're connected or tethered by this invisible cord. And that's why you see in the trailer for Us, they use scissors because it's about CRISPR and gene editing and cloning. And they try to sever the cord. But really, it's the snipping and replacing of these different elements of the DNA strands to create the clones and to modify the genetics. So, now, if this was the only Super Bowl commercial that was about clones and doubles, then you could say, okay, so you're just reading into it. No, but there were several commercials that were talking about clones from different brands. So we were on it before it happened. Now, let's get back into these first 7 bloodlines. This is amazing. We're going to draw some lines today in yellow. Now, we're going to compare the people from one side of the bloodline to the other. And this is going to blow your mind. Biblical doppelgangers. Cain, Canaan. Enoch, yes, there were 2 Enochs. Irad, Jared. Mehujael, Mahalaleel. Methusael, Methuselah. Lamech. Look at this. 6 and 6 matches. That's 66. Something is happening here. Now, we went into detail in the video that I'll pin in the comment, but I wanted to show you briefly what was going on with the first 7 generations from Adam. Now, what could that mean? Well, I believe there was also a cord connecting these 2. I ran into my doppelganger the other day on YouTube. Man, looks very much like me. He's a doctor, and he was exposing that we were in a giant experiment right now with CV19. And I looked at this guy, and I got this strange feeling of some kind of connection, and I saw the similarities. Now, I've had people tell me before, oh, wow, you look just like so-and-so, but I don't feel the connection. When I look at that person, I go, kinda, but not really. But this guy appeared to be like my doppelganger. Now, there's all kinds of films about this, but there's something to this, and I can't claim to know exactly what that's about, because all we have is this biblical crossing over. We don't know really the personalities and depth of these people. You can look at their biblical name meaning, but I think what this really represents is you have a choice. You can go the way of Cain, which is why God told Cain, he said, why the long face? You have a choice. Sin will be crouching at the door for your bloodline, but you have a choice. And if you do good, you'll be okay. He didn't have to say that to Seth or any of his bloodline. So there's this weird split going on with those from I believe, the seed of the serpent versus the seed that is untainted by the serpent. This is more the natural seed line. And that's a whole nother show. But there's a reason why these seed lines were split off like this. There's a reason why Cain is not named in Adam's bloodline in the Bible. Now, what else do we have here? A lot to cover today, you guys. A lot to cover. So, here are the dancers from the halftime show. And this was the theme that continued from the film Us. These masked dancers. And look at this. They look a lot like the masked boy from the film Us. Very similar. Now, other channels caught this before I did. I don't want to claim that we were the ones that discovered this. But the important thing to remember is that we were already covering the twinning. And that is new information. Because this was definitely what they were probably after in these dancers. The Weeknd's dancers with these face masks. And this is all about doppelgangers and twins and clones. Now, let's keep going. Next Super Bowl ad. Cue up the next one here. Now, this was a DoorDash commercial. And they show Sesame Street, right? And it's all about the neighborhood. So they remake the song, the Sesame Street theme song, into dealing and working with people in your neighborhood. Now, this sounds great. Local delivery, Uber Eats, DoorDash. And they want it, and they talk about buying local, but it's really not. Okay, because really what's happening here is DoorDash and Uber Eats are making a killing on delivery, and it's corporate. And the incentive is fear. There's a conflict of interest. So as the corporations who get to stay open, who get to work, who get to be essential, work with government, as they work with government to keep us in fear, they're making money off of that. You see how this works? It's a conflict of interest. People staying at home because they don't want to get sick. So don't buy the lie that these people care about your neighborhood, because they really don't. It just sounds good, and they use this, they sell you the convenience of using their corporate delivery service so they get rich and continue to work with the government to keep you in fear. You guys, there aren't many small businesses left after what we just went through. Most of them have been ordered to be shut down. And so what you're left with is using DoorDash and Uber Eats and all these other delivery companies from corporate chains. They're delivering food from mostly corporate chains, and a new type of business called the CV19 compliant business. Not independent businesses barely hanging on. It's all about CV compliant businesses now. And so one of you sent me this, and this is where they're headed with all this. These are called the Well Health Safety Seal Public Awareness Campaign. And this launched with Gaga, Lopez, Michael B. Jordan. There he is in the Alexa commercial. Robert De Niro, Venus Williams, Wolfgang Puck, Deepak Chopra, and the 17th U.S. Surgeon General. And what this is a seal that you get in your window of your building, which basically is like a pass. It says that you practice social distancing. It says that you require masks in your business. It says that you are basically in good graces with the government and their mandates. And this basically fast passes you to stay open and to also get business locally. This is where it's all headed. And those who don't have one of these seals will be marked for closure, for shutdowns, and for everything else. So this is the seal. Now, I tried to decode this seal. I mean, I guess it kind of looks like it's got a smiley face in it, but that might be kind of a stretch. Other than that, I couldn't really pull anything out of this logo, unless you guys see anything that I missed. But this is where everything's headed. You're going to get like a pass, and they dress it up as something positive, but really what it is it excludes most people who do not want to comply. Okay, so that's not a free America. When you start excluding people just because they don't go along with the mandates and rules. All right, let's get into the next one here. I'm going to check it one more time with you guys. Very good. Looks as though we're up and running. Let's get into this next Super Bowl ad. Let's cue this up. Oh, you can't say that anymore. Wow. You guys are marking every single one of our videos now. So, got to be real careful what you say on YouTube now. All right, here we go. So, this is more CV19 programming. This is a Ford commercial. And what this does is it's brainwashing you to keep following orders. The ad compares us to soldiers in the field, holding the line.
Protected.
Okay, and what do soldiers do? They follow orders. And it talks about we need to keep sacrificing and keep standing strong. And then it tries to guilt trip anybody that does not comply. And they just say, we're not team players, right? Now, what's the truth about what these forced shutdowns have done to people? Well, here's an ad that demonstrates it very well. This is what's happening. Opioid overdoses 29% higher in 2020 than before the spamdemic. And it's actually higher. It's almost 50% higher. That's a lot of people dying. I'm not going to read through this article, but that's the headline. And if you read deeper into the article, it talks about a 45% increase over 2019. That's a lot of people. Look at this. 190 million emergency department visits. They found significantly higher rates of visits to emergency rooms for opiate overdoses during the months of March to October. Of course, that's going to happen. It says the study found that from mid-April onward, the weekly visits increase up to 45% compared to the same period in 2019. These are the fully intended consequences, I believe. I don't think these were unintended. They knew this was going to happen. But they went with it anyway, because they don't really care about you. Now, more doppelgangers. In this next ad, skip to it. To say skip now instead of the other word. I'm so sick of YouTube algorithms. All right, so this next ad is all about more doppelgangers. And let's play it.
Oh.
Now, in this case, this isn't Michelob, but State Farm. And this one is all about stand-ins, which of course is a code word for a clone or a twin or a doppelganger, right? A stand-in.
Okay.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Have lines. Like a good neighbor. Stand-ins don't have lines.
Stand-ins don't have lines. Of course they don't. Turn the volume up here a little bit. All right, on to the next one. So now you see the theme. You see that the work that we've been doing is all been about exactly what we're going through. Now, here we're getting on to the more of the agenda, and this is cow-free milk. And this is part of the agenda to take us all meatless. Now, I don't have any problem with people who do not want to eat meat or drink milk, okay? They fully terrorize people into not wanting to drink milk. Oh, it's got pus in it. It's got blood. It's got all these things, right? This is what they've programmed us. My children are horrified to eat any animal products and blood or any milk or anything like that. Okay? But we're fast approaching a future where you won't be able to find a cow to eat or milk to drink. It's not going to be on the shelves pretty soon. And the only place where we're going to see cows is in a zoo. And here's what I know. I know the Bible talks about the land of milk and honey. And God would not confuse us by stating that. And there are many scriptures in the Bible of people that drank milk. Real milk. From an animal. So I'm going to go with that instead. Now, you can make the argument that, the way that some of these cows are treated, and I get all that. And if you want to do that, that's great. But if you're on a farm and you've got a cow and you know that cow's been raised really well and you're staying away from that milk because of all the programming that you've been given, then that's a little bit weird. That's a doctrine that is not supported by the Bible. All right. So you can choose to do it, but just know that that's not biblical. So this is oat milk, but let me play a little bit of this because I want you to understand that they're basically even in this ad trying to guilt trip you. Let's see here.
Wow. It's like milk. Made for humans.
made for humans.
It's like
You see that? So that's the programming, okay? Because regular milk is made for humans too, according to the Bible. If you read the Bible and believe the Bible, like I said, I wish I could pull up some verses right now, but I actually researched this, and there are instances in the Bible where humans drank animal milk, and it was okay and under God's command. All right. So let's keep going with this. All right. Next one. Now, this next one is Bass Pro Shop. And this actually was the closest thing I could find to a great Super Bowl ad with a positive message that wasn't political. And it was all about getting back to nature and fishing and actually catching and eating the fish like Jesus did. Now, the only problem I had with this is it still stops short of condemning the agenda that got us all here. All right, you got to make a stand. If you're Bass Pro Shops, you got to say, look, this is what we represent, and shame on the people that are trying to take us down a different road. Because make no mistake, the agenda is against this. Pretty soon you won't be able to catch a fish and eat it. They will say you are not allowed to do that anymore. It's coming.
These challenges will pass.
These challenges were passed, and of course they're catching all these fish. Most of these people appear as though they're going to eat the fish, and they're not just catching and releasing, which is another psyop to move us toward the agenda of basically just looking at nature as a zoo, and not looking at it as, which is the way God intended it, for us to be able to harvest from the nature. They're going to say everything is unsustainable, and we have to fight against that.
We need nature to help us heal and reconnect.
So that's what's going on. Weird stuff. Now let's keep going. The electric car agenda.
Mind with out. Let's go. Come on. I won't stand for it.
Now, of course, this is Will Ferrell. And look what we have again. The globe theme, right? See this? And there's your Unisphere with him with his arm stuck in the globe. Now he goes through this whole ad with his arm stuck in the globe. What does this really mean? Whoa, look at this. There is the guy with the horns. Now, this ad is all about Norway. Wow, more globes up here too. See this? Now, this is all about General Motors challenging Norway to have more electric cars than they do. So this is the electric car agenda. And what this will become is the technology that will enslave America. Now, why would I say something like that, such a bold statement? Well, because electric cars are only affordable to the elite and the rich. And as soon as gas cars are gone, guess what's going to happen? Driving will become an elite activity. It won't make sense for anyone like you and me. We will have to get their Uber cars that are electric and pay lots and lots of money to get from one side of the town to the other. They may even government subsidize these Uber and car delivery services and taxi services to where it becomes a federal force or a federal service. And then you'll basically be taxed for even using the electricity in that electronic car. So there'll be whole fleets of electric Uber vehicles. This is coming, you guys. This is the future. And then this will enslave you. You won't be able to get in your car and drive. I drove from Connecticut down to Arkansas. It took me 2 days. Then I drove from Arkansas to California. Those days are coming to a close. Because as they start pulling gasoline stations and replacing them with electric stations, driving will become a luxury, not a right. Now, how else will the electronic cars enslave America? Well, they will get to decide what the rate is, how much they're going to charge you to charge your battery. The other thing is these battery packs don't work in cold weather. So if you live in a cold weather climate, you're hosed because your battery might not charge very well. Your range will be very limited. The battery packs in these vehicles, some of them are up to $10,000 to $15,000. A quarter to half the price of the vehicle is in the battery. And these need to be replaced. Who has $5,000, $10,000 laying around to replace a vehicle when the battery goes out? Not too many people. So Will Ferrell is doing a joke here. He's rounding up all his friends, and they're going to try to outdo Norway and have more battery-powered cars. Let's play a little bit of this.
The battery, we're gonna crush those losers. Keenan, Norway's out EVing us. Meet me in Norway. Okay,
Aquafina, sorry to just.
There's your Apollo's arrow. Absolutely. A lot of arrow references, right?
Meet me there in an hour.
When you drive an EV.
Probably flying private.
Hey, Norway, listen up, you fish-loving. Where are you guys?
Sweden.
So, that's that commercial. Next. Now, this next ad, of course, this is Robinhood. And Robinhood is trying to save face after this huge gaffe that happened just a few weeks ago, where they sided with the billionaires to tilt the stock market in their favor. And this was just after they were outsmarted by the common folks, me and you, who had Robinhood apps on their phones. And what did Robinhood do when they saw that the little folks were making a bunch of money and the billionaires weren't? They decided to stop the game because they were losing. Stop the game. GameStop. Now, here's the interesting thing about this is, make no mistake, the billionaires only get rich off of our backs. They outsmart us and the game is rigged. They need all of the little people playing in the game in order to make their money. In other words, if it's just billionaires playing in the game, they don't make money. They make money off of us. So in fact, Robinhood steals from the poor and gives to the rich. It's basically a big psyop. They're doing exactly the opposite of what the Robinhood character represents. And that's the big white elephant in the room when it comes to the Robinhood app. Next ad. Now, this is a Dawn commercial. And in this commercial, they're lamenting the new at-home together paradigm. Because all these families have been, forced to consolidate their households after bankruptcies, evictions, skyrocketing rents. This is what's happened. So now there's more people in a household trying to get by, trying to weather the storm, trying to get through the spam-demic. And because of that, there's more dishes to do. So, of course, they're going to sell you some Dawn. Now, it's funny because Dawn is a play on the words The Dawn, of course. He worked with the Koch brothers, the Koch Industries, as well as Unilever, two huge companies in terms of antibacterials, toilet papers, soaps, and they all made a ton of money. And Mr. T worked with them in the past to help them get rich. And so this is interesting.
Piling up for some of us. Place up. And out.
So, never let a good crisis go to waste. Let's all keep making money. And so basically, all of these Super Bowl commercials were basically corporate takeover on display. Just reinforcing and profiting off of the situation that they put us in, working together with our government to put us all in. Okay. Now, a lot of you asked about this Jeep commercial. Let's get into that. And I think, let's see here. This is the Jeep commercial. And now, the premise of this sounds good. It's all about meeting in the middle America, the common ground. And there's this place called Lebanon in Kansas. And this is the place that is supposed to be the exact geographical center location of America. Let's see if we can play part of this.
Between secret, it never standing on the exact center.
Standing on the exact center of America. Welcome to the center of the USA, Lebanon, Kansas. Now, this place is featured in the American television series Supernatural as the location of the former base of a secret society known as the Men of Letters. The Mole. It was also featured in the TV series American Gods as a point for the old gods and the new gods to party. Interesting, right? And here in the commercial, they talk about this being a place between red and blue. A common ground. Sounds a lot like the stuff we talk about, right? Not giving into the right-left paradigm, not being red or blue, not being immigrant or citizen. But that's not what they're talking about here. They're talking about the false middle. You know, the ad talks about freedom, but we're not free. And it talks about making it through to the other side after CV-19. But again, it stops completely short of condemning what we're all going through right now. All the lies, the confusion, the corporate takeover, the social engineering to force something on people that they don't want. Clearly, people don't want this, but they're going to force it anyway. So, there's a few more commercials here, but none of them I could really pull anything out of. These last ones are kind of dumb, so we're not going to go over those. Well, let's go back in the chat and make sure we're still connected. All right. Now, I decoded the lake house, or I'm starting to decode the lake house. A lot in that film as well. A lot of the copper references. Here's the car in the lake house that she drives, and it's copper colored. They call it burnt umber, but this is copper. This is all about time travel again, and that is the theme of it. And if I have enough to put together, I'll put together a short montage, and maybe we'll do a show on the lake house. It's like a romantic film about Keanu Reeves. Remember, Reeves means time travel. And they pass letters through the mailbox. And through this mailbox, they're able to communicate with one another, but they're both in different timelines. One is in 2004 and one is in 2006. 46, the year that Mr. T was born. And there's so much more to that as well. So as soon as this chat catches up, we can do a little bit of Q&A on these ads. Thank you to the person that asked me and reminded me to do the Super Bowl ads. I try to do them every year, but I kind of forgot. I'm coming off the heels of a quick vacation to Arkansas, so I was a little bit wore out, so a little bit off my game. But I'm back, and I did get a lot of rest. And so basically, that's what's going on with the Super Bowl ads. Now, a lot of people cover the Super Bowl ads, of course, every year, but we always have a much different perspective because of our personal experience in connecting things about the Super Bowl ads that hadn't happened yet. So that's kind of neat. All right, let's go in here. The chat slowed down. Joints for jabs. Exactly. This is what's going on. They're doing everything they can to get people on board with this. Okay. Yeah, the whole thing was underwhelming, says Garth. Underwater ad for Toyota. I guess I missed that one. tree was built around the lake house. It was alive. Yeah, the lake house was built around the tree. Yeah. Now remember, in that film, there was a tree inside the lake house. There was a tree outside the lake house in front of her house. Remember that? So we have this weird juxtaposition frame of reference. So there's more to that Alexa commercial. Yeah, what did you pick up on, Little Bear? What does Mr. T have to do with it? Everything. He made the VC that we're all being forced to take now. So cool. Dr. Savage put out a cool video on the number 46. I should go check that out. I think I saw him here in the chat. Did I ever decode Deja Vu? Yeah, we did decode that with Denzel Washington. It's been a while. Okay. The two trees in the Bible. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So the two trees, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, maybe that's what the two trees could represent in the lake house. Okay. Replica. Someone wanted me to look at Replica with Keanu Reeves. Cool. Maybe I'll take a look at that today. The Butterfly Effect. I haven't seen that one in a while. There's a lot of time travel movies, you guys. I guess I could go back through all of them, but I think at this point we should probably be focused on informing people about what is happening with the VCs. That is definitely part of their future agenda, and that's what they're putting all of their emphasis on that right now, and getting these rolled out. And as more people get it, guess what? That will increase the pressure on the rest of us who don't get it. Do you see what I'm saying? So now's the time. It was kind of like with the masks. We had a window of opportunity to where we could have, influenced not having to deal with this. You guys, I got on an airplane. From the time you walk into the airport to the time that you leave, and you're in an airport all day long when you're traveling, you have to wear a mask now. There's no way out of it. Basically, they have now excluded anyone with a medical condition that prevents them from wearing a mask. There simply is no excuse. There's no way out of it anymore. And so that's not good, because they have taken away people's right to fly. Let's say you have asthma and you cannot wear a mask because you guys, the shortness of breath is crazy. It will give you a headache. It makes your nose run. You're breathing in your own CO2. And this is the big white elephant in the room that they won't talk about. They won't even let you talk about it. They won't even let you talk about oxygen deprivation when you're forced to wear these. So that's not good. That means they're inching us towards something. They're not backing off of it. You'd think they'd back off of it, right? Now that they're saying, certain countries have shown that they've lowered and flattened their curve because of the VC. And now we can start to take our masks off. No, they're putting the gas, the pedal to the metal. And so we had a window of opportunity there with the masks, and we did not take it. We did not influence enough people to wake up to it. And of course, social media was against us, pulling down videos and all this, so we did our best. But now we're at another window of opportunity. They're not forcing it yet, but guess what? As more and more people get the VC, they will begin to put more and more pressure on those who don't. So got... You guys, they just disconnected us. That was weird. See that? Well, we're going to end the show there anyway. I love each and every one of you. I don't know why we got disconnected like that, but it happens. And we'll be back on here tomorrow. Take care and be safe, everyone. And be saved if you haven't already.